You may know me from GitHub, from Twitter, and from the OpenHub community forum. I'm a lead software developer at Sabre, and I do completely different stuff. I have a team of front-end developers where we basically create point of sale for travel agencies. But I use OpenHub in work as well, simply by signalizing that we are having stand-up meeting in like 15 seconds, or let's take a break, or let's do a code review session right now. So it's all there in my office as well. You can tell I'm a home automation geek. I'm also a musician. I'm doing a weird face over the drum set here, playing with my band. And I'm happy married, and I have 2 Siberian cats who are also subject of my home automation system. Yeah. Okay. So when I started designing my home automation system, I've seen that there are gaps between what you do when you work with OpenHub, what you do when you plan your home, how it should behave, without touching any switches and all that stuff. So I tried to create a bridge between the existing solutions, like you have wall switches, you have motion sensors, you have plenty of devices, the smart objects, and then you have DSL, you have items, you have things, and the textual configurations. So for the last 3 or 4 months, I worked on the home builder. That's a new UI for OpenHub that allows you to easily design your smart home structure. Basically, you can provide a list of devices, list of rooms and floors of stories in your home, and the home builder will generate the whole smart home structure for you, as well as the head panel dashboards. Kudos to Yannick for creating that. And yeah, Kai asked you about the Eclipse Smart Home Designer, and Thomas had a great talk about user experience before. Smart Home Designer was a great start for us to work with OpenHub because it has a native syntax support. It highlighted the keywords. It had built-in browser with classic UI preview. It had auto completion, but it was a dedicated tool. You needed to download it specifically to work on OpenHub stuff, and it didn't utilize the REST API. And let's now talk on the Visual Studio Code, which is the next thing on my list. That's basically building the bridge between your workflow on the computer and working on your smart home system. So I wanted to avoid the situation that you download the editor just to work on your smart home system. There's Visual Studio Code, which is open source editor maintained by Microsoft, but not only. It's not a Visual Studio. That's a common misconception. That's why it's highlighted on this slide. So Visual Studio Suite is a commercial product for C#, .NET ecosystem, the Microsoft babies. And the Visual Studio Code is an Electron-based app. It runs everywhere. It's free and open source. It has built-in Git and SVN, whatever. Has plenty of community-driven extensions. They also support third-party developers with making the extensions, and this really surprised me. When I introduced the OpenHub extension to Visual Studio Code, I suddenly realized that there are people on Microsoft side that were helping me developing that extension, which is really nice. And it's also lightweight. So again, about the technical details, which are not that important for the end users. This is the application that's built on top of Monaco editor, which basically allows you to embed the editor in the website as well. It's written in TypeScript, so anyone who does frontend can create his own extension, and it's based on Electron. It's basically an exe file or runnable browser with embedded editor. And the extension that I've made is a set of features specifically targeted towards the OpenHub users. So it has syntax highlighting, basic UI and paper UI integration. So the modern UIs are here already. It utilizes REST API. You have items tree view and rules generator, which I will show afterwards. And it also has code snippets, documentation search, kudos to Thomas, community search, and language server protocol support, kudos to Simon. There's a URL where you can download this extension. And so far it was installed over 2,150 times. So that's a big deal for me. So now it's demo time. Okay. So this is a home builder. This is a UI. I don't know if you can see the small text here. Okay. So this UI, this is an initial version of it. We're still working on the UI. You can basically provide the information about your home you're living in. It can be apartment, it can be home, or whatever else. So let's say our home has 2 stories. And you see that the items are generated automatically. Then let's provide some information about the ground floor. So we have a bedroom and bathroom and kitchen, living room, and yeah, that's all for this. And we have a corridor, and we have a family room and a guest room on the first floor. Let's add some kids room as well. As you can see, we now generated the select boxes here in the object section. These are basically devices and other sensors that are physically living in your home. So I can add a light switches, light controls for the older rooms. Yeah, I guess we don't have a smart light, so let's omit that. And we can add more. So window, door, motion sensor. And as you can see, it dynamically creates the item's definition for you. I can zoom it in. So we have nicely formatted text file with item types, item names, labels, icons, and groups. And for the end items, for the devices that are here, we've also included the pre-populated channel definition that we can also get rid of easily with one checkbox or radio button. So yeah, let's finish that. We have a motion sensor in your bathroom. We have a power outlet in the kitchen, in the living room. We have a motion sensor in corridor, and so on and so on. Blinds. We have motion sensor, door sensor. So you probably noticed that I can only add one item per room. So this is something that I will look into in the future. So we have like multiple lights that are grouped and included in the items definition. But right now you can also add a custom device. You can simply type switch lamp, and it will create a new item right here. That's bathroom lamp. It added a group for it. It works also for rooms, so I can add a new room that's called piano room on the ground floor, so it should be here as well. So these were the items. We also have a sitemap definition, and you can also preview the whole thing when you run the home builder. We can get rid of the rooms that are here, and as you can see, we got rid of the definition in sitemap as well. So there are also other components of this UI that allow you to not only use the textual configuration, but also the internal database. So this is a work in progress thing that we'll need to work on afterwards. So what it does is basically it creates requests to Eclipse Smart Home REST API, and it creates all the items for you if you use that function. All right, and we also can include or exclude the icons for the items, and include or exclude tags, which are really helpful for Hue emulation or Google Home and Alexa as well. But in the future, we'll probably use the profiles as well. Okay, let's dive into the Visual Studio Code. I've already pre-populated I've already created the files. Let's just rename it to be full house so we don't have error. Let's copy that. Okay. So I've added all the items here. And when you refresh that pane, that side panel, you can see that I have one master group that's called home. When I open that, I have all the groups of rooms and devices that are in my home. I think I will also create a separate group just for objects, for the devices, so you can distinguish them too. So now, I didn't even touch the keyboard. I just selected the items that I have in my home, and I already have that. I can already work with that within OpenHAB. So let's add sitemap as well. Sitemap. Okay, let's save that. As you can see, we have 2 frames for the floors, and the frames that are the frame that are representing the groups of devices. So now I can hit Ctrl-Alt-O or Command-Alt-O or just this nice button, and it opens the basic UI with a dark theme on the side view. So I even didn't touch the keyboard besides Ctrl-V on my Visual Studio Code. So right now I can play around with my virtual home because it doesn't have any channel linked or any things or whatever. So yeah, everything looks great. We can close that. So now we can generate the HAB panel. So let's add dashboard here. Let's copy the definition, and let's go to the HAB panel config page. I think it looks okay with the white background. And as you can see, you have all the definitions of your devices here as well. So we have this lamp that we created, and we have the lights, group of lights that we created as well. So this automatically creates dashboard for you. You can manipulate with the layout. You can change that, and this is already working. So now let's play around with the rules. This extension not only adds the pane with the items, it also allows you to create text files with full support of language, of the XText language that's here. So we can create a rule with a simple snippet, or we can create a rule on group of lights by clicking this group and selecting create a rule. So it automatically generates the code for you. If you want to create a rule just for the bathroom light, I can select that, create a rule, and it already knows its state, that it's currently assigned to this item. All right. You may observe that little red underline over the item. So this is Simon's job, actually. Big applause to him, because this is basically a language server protocol add-on to Eclipse Smart Home. And what it does is basically it communicates with the editor, external editor. It can be Visual Studio Code, it can be some online editor, whatever, that supports this protocol. And here we can display all the errors that the server is telling us about. So let's send comment to an item. And as you can see, this is gone, and the send command has invalid argument of arguments. So let's add some proper argument. Oops. Door. Oh yeah, this is the contact sensor, so that makes no sense. So family room white, change to on. So I have also the demo rules that are basically taken from the OpenHub server. As you can see, all the errors are here. We have also this little scroll bar that have highlighted lines that needs your attention. Bless you. So if there are some items that are not there, they are simply highlighted. All right. So recently we've added some more functionality for the snippets. We have some design patterns that Rich Koshak implemented. We have some snippets just for things, definitions, and post, update, and for the rules. We can also create new items here in the item. Yeah. So we have switch. By the way, you can also use tab to navigate through the sections. So we have switch that's called, I don't know, cat feeder. And you can provide a channel definition here as well. So there you have it. Now's the time for Q&A, because I know there are lots of questions from you to answer. So I'm open for any remarks from you guys. Okay.
Is the completion also handled by the language
Not yet. I mean, we look forward to have that as well on the language server protocol. This is something on the roadmap, but current autocomplete definitions are handled just by Visual Studio Code extension. So what I do here is I have the snippets that I implemented by myself with some proper documentation, and I also have the list of items that I retrieved from the REST API. But I really look forward to have auto-completion also implemented within the language server protocol somewhere as well. All right? Anyone?
Great stuff. Where have you been for the last 5 years?
Okay.
What I definitely suggest is with the rule templates,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some kind of standard documentation. What does the rule do? What are the requirements? Something like that.
Yeah.
I think we did discuss yesterday and today a lot of documentation.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have such a great tool with templates,
Mm-hmm.
this should be part of the template.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so in the items tree view, we also have features like you can see the paper UI here. You can click, and if it was submitted by this, if it was added from the REST API and not by the textual configuration, you could change the groups here, change the type, whatever.
I also want to say really great stuff, and the editor you showed before with the sitemap,
Mm-hmm.
you said the internal database.
Yeah.
Does it mean you can use the internal database instead of the sitemap, right?
Instead of this items definition. So the question is, how would you like to store the items?
Yes.
And within internal database, it actually means we create these items within the REST API. So yeah. All right.
Could you extend it also for the DSR 223 support?
Sorry?
License scripts or something? Would it be extendable to also support license scripts?
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay, lots of questions.
The home reader is only for the initial setup, right?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, this is what we discussed briefly with other developers as well. This is meant to be your first step when you start your OpenHub, I think, because it basically creates your home structure definition. Afterwards, you can add the items by the REST API or by modifying the text file.
You cannot load it into it, right? You cannot load the existing.
Existing one, not yet, but I look forward into beta shed as well. All right. Okay, thank you guys.